their money. Everybody wants to spend their money. People want to, they want to spend their money faster than they can get it. And so let's welcome in the Concordia alum. He did his GA years on the John B. line at the University of Michigan. Now he patrols the sidelines for the Ohio University Bobcats in a race for max seating right now. The coach, Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter, Kyle Barlow4. Coach Barlow, good morning to you. Happy Thirsty Thursday. What's going on over there? How are you? How are the kids?
Great. Hey, it's a great morning. Great morning. Talking about spending money. Bellino, every time we open up this show, or you open up, you introduce me, you say proud Concordia alum, right?
Yep.
And I'm a very, very proud Concordia alum, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that school right now. And I would be, I need to talk about it. So I appreciate you and giving a platform, and I love the floor, the mic right now, because there's a lot of people, and including people who are trying to shut it down and trying to sell it and make it just a riverfront property up there on Getty's Road. So, Concordia needs help, and it's a special place. It's a place where I wouldn't be who I am without Concordia right now. And it's more than just a moneymaker. So many things in this day and age, hospitals, schools, everywhere it's about the bottom line, right? And Concordia has always been more than that. And it's a place where you grow not only as a student, with your programs, where you grow as a Christian, you grow as a husband, father. A lot of people meet their wives, their significant others there. And it's a place that goes beyond the bottom line. And there's these forces that are treating it like it's Wall Street. Like, at what point did it become Wall Street, where everything's about, hey, we're going to buy something just to sell it off? Like, this ain't Blue Star Airlines, Bellino. You ain't Gordon Gekko with a slightly less expensive suit. Come on, man. And maybe a cooler cell phone. Remember how big a cell phone was in Wall Street?
Yes.
It was crazy. So there's just a lot of things. And, I got a lot of – my best friend is still working there. My sister's the hockey coach there. So it's a very transitional time. So I want everybody, this radio station goes out to a lot of affiliates in Michigan, all over, and then obviously you can hear it, like you said, whoever, how you may be listening, your line that I love. But, support Concordia, whether that's financially, whether that's spiritually, whether that's whatever. Support Concordia, and we'll get the links and how to do it. But would love to save that special place, man.
My question is, what in the world, what does Wisconsin have to do with this?
So about 10 years ago, there was a merger. Ann Arbor was in a bad spot. That's actually when I worked there, and they weren't cash flow positive, and they were in debt. And Wisconsin was going to open up another one. There's about 10 Concordias around the U.S. They were going to open another one in Florida, but they said, hey, Ann Arbor's beautiful. Right there, it's a special place and a special city. Let's merge with them instead of taking on a new project. And in the past 10 years, I think 9 out of 10, they've been in the black. And one bad year, and then a new president took over at Concordia, Wisconsin, and had one consultant come in and say that things are dire, so he's looking to maybe sell it, which is like, hold on, if you believe everything one person says, I think you're being ignorant. I don't believe everything one person says. If you believe everything Bush says, Trump, if you believe everything Biden says, you're an idiot. If you believe everything Anthony Bellino says, you're an idiot. Sorry. But so a consultant came in. It's almost like a new regime, and I don't think they get the value of what they have there. And, we're not supposed to talk bad about them. We're supposed to be Christian brothers and sisters and go about this in a certain way and, not put the board at fault, not put the new president, not the new CFO, who I heard, there's some questions there too. So, we're not supposed to do that, but the facts are the facts. The former president was actually on a podcast who, saw the merger through, was president of both universities, and, he proposed there are ways out. There are solutions to this problem. And, just like in Die Hard, he's like, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the bleeping problem, right? So be part of the solution.
Okay, did I just hear that right? If you believe everything that I say, that you are an idiot.
My feelings.
Was that what I just?
My
Is that what I just heard? Hey, look, as a professor of the truth on this program and the most fair and honest radio host in the country, I am insulted with a little bit of pepper too, a little salt and pepper there.
Guys, honestly, that's a line I tell our guys all the time because in college it's a very transformational type of time, and they're like, well, my professor said this about blah 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 blah, so this has got to be fact, or online I read this. I said, man, if you believe everything one person says, you're an idiot.
I am shocked at the amount of people that will not listen to something that somebody has to say because they are, quote, they're an idiot or they are too one-sided on this. Like, I listen to both sides on just about every argument. Like, I want to hear what people have to say. I think that's kind of the smart way to go about it. And then I'll try to, find my own conclusion somewhere in the middle, right? Isn't that what they tell you to do? Listen to a little bit of that, listen to a little bit of that, come to your own conclusion?
I think it's what you need to do, and especially, like, thinking about like the pandemic or even any sports issues, like your solution with NIL, which I would love to talk about if we have time. I know I was a little long-winded on that, but even that, it's like, yes, there are complications to, it's never just that easy, right? And it's like, until you understand both sides, you're not going to get it. And going back to the Concordia thing, I sound very one-sided as an Ann Arbor person. I haven't brought up the Concordia, Wisconsin side, but there's been a lack of transparency about that. And people in high positions are asking for trust. It's like, well, you can't have trust without transparency. Right? So I want to hear that side. And everything's premature, right? Oh, well, that might be premature, blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, you know what? You know what else is premature is sending an email on Valentine's Day. Yeah, I'm not going there.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Right. I'm not going there. But sending an email on Valentine's Day with no other discussions, that might have been a little premature, too.
Wow, that's a lot. Look, I think that you're not eating up time. It's an important issue, right? There's people that are listening right now that have been in Concordia, gone to a camp there. Maybe they went to school there, right? And this is your segment. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I'm all for it, whether it's premature or not. Like we're here for you, man. So let's dive into that NIL deal, and the way that I had thought about it a little bit last night because it was brought to my attention, like, well, what happens if the player can't pay? So basically with the NIL money, my idea is that, whatever the player is going to make on this pay for play disguised as name, image, and likeness, but call it what it is, pay for play, whatever they're going to bring in for that, their buyout would be 80% of that money. And somebody said, what if they can't pay for that? Well, somebody's got to. So if they can't afford the buyout, then the school that they're looking to transfer to has to make that purchase. They have to reach that agreement. Just as if, Chris Holtman got fired, the university knows what's at stake. His buyout, $12.7 million. Kayla DeBoer leaves Washington, takes a promotion, goes to Alabama. That's awesome. Money's exchanging hands. That is not a free pass. And that's where I think that we could kind of simmer down a lot, because I look at a guy like Mike Sainristil, for example, a guy that was, a wide receiver when he got to campus. Coaching staff told him, convert to DB, trust us on this. He could have walked right then, and he could have went to the MAC and been a great receiver, done whatever he wanted to do. But a lot of times at 18 or 19 years old, you don't know what's best for you. And a lot of times at 18 and 19 years old, the people around you don't know what's best for you. In fact, they might be giving you bad information. Look at Mikey. He likes it. He's now going to be a top 50 pick in the NFL draft. Probably it could potentially even be a first-round pick at DB.
So let's litigate this a little bit, because I really do like it. And, and I say litigate, you can be Anthony Bellino, associate at Wallace & Wallace Law Firm, circa 2004, right? The law firm. Ben and Rashid.
That's right.
Work there. I'll be Barlow and Associates down here, just a mom and pop shop in Athens, Ohio. But so I think this is actually, I wouldn't be shocked if this is actually going on already. And you look at guys like Nigel Pack, who went down to Miami, Florida, 2 years, $800,000, right, out of Kansas State after Bruce Weber got fired. I would be shocked if a businessman, like, I forget his name down in Miami, but he has Life Wallet. He got the Cavender twins, big Miami donor. But I would be shocked if he didn't have an out written into that contract, because it was so specific, right? That was one of the most specific NIL deals that we heard of, which, like I said, we need to stop using NIL. That was the most specific pay-for-play deals that we heard, because there's no way that you are getting $800,000 worth of revenue or marketing or whatever. So it's not name, image, and likeness, right? He's not doing that for that company. It's pay-for-play. So I'd be shocked if there wasn't some out in that. But what you're talking about, and we go back to transparency again, right?
Yes.
Like, we need transparency in these contracts, so that we know, not only, like, we've had it done to us, and we're not even that big of obviously that big of a player. We didn't make your Power 50 that you were talking about yesterday, which I'm not offended about, Ohio University, that is. But, like, we've had it done to us where, like, hey, coach, like, such and such team is giving me such and such money. And it's like, we're not allowed to have those conversations. So we've heard that they're having those conversations, but they're trying to up the number, or their agent or their coach or their whoever is trying to up the number. And it's like, we need transparency with this, like, because it's like, I had NBA people come to us this summer and be like, man, what you're going through is crazy. At least we have a salary cap. Like, we don't have a salary cap. We have no idea what the market value is, because it's not market value. It's not NIL. So when we're litigating this, when we're talking about these buyouts, I think the biggest thing is transparency with the contract, transparency with an actual value. And then with your model, I had one question.
Yes.
Are you talking about still this collective and these random donors for this for where the money's coming from, I guess? Are you talking about the revenue sharing? Because I know you mentioned until we get revenue sharing.
Yeah, until we get revenue sharing, yes, it would come out of the collective. Because what the guy that I want to bring up is gonna hit close to home to you, right? And that's because this is maybe the best way to go, because you can kind of see where this gets a little sticky, right? So if Olivier Kamwa, R.I.P. to his season. If this young fella, he's now going to have wrist surgery. He transferred in from Tennessee. He's a graduate transfer, right? So things are a little bit different. Like, he's doing things kind of like the old school way. But let's take a kid like, Sears, for example. Leading Alabama, Mark Sears is, with 20 points a game. He's been dynamite. Alabama, they win in overtime last night by 5 against Florida. Sensational game. But he's a guy who started his career at Ohio University. So if Sears says, and I don't know this, and I'm not asking you this number, but if Sears says Alabama's going to offer me $100,000, I want to go play at Alabama. Well, that's great. Whatever his, pay-for-play deal would have been at Ohio, he would have been responsible, or Alabama would have been responsible for 80% of that buyout, which then gives money back to the school that is losing their player, gets that money back into that collective so they can go get the next piece. Like, I feel like it's the most economical sort of system that we could put into place to sort of balance things out until we do have our revenue sharing and we grow up and act like adults.
Yeah, so I hear you. So it's like the contract. If somebody was under contract, like in your hypothetical, if Mark was under contract for the next year and there was a certain number that we had and he didn't go fulfill that year in a contract, he would owe 80% of that back. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And in that contract, whatever his, if it's when a guy comes to campus, if he signs for a 3 to 4 year deal, whatever the case may be, for X amount of dollars per year, if he wants to leave, he's responsible for that 80%. Or the school. Yeah. The school that is trying to lure him in, because I think that might stop the poachers a little bit, right? The poachers keep poaching until they start getting hunted.
Yeah, I like it. The poachers keep poaching until they get hunted, but I think it'll help a little. I don't think it'll completely stop it. And right now, what you have is, one, you have collectives and the synthetic NILs who are stiffing the kids. Like, there's been a couple examples last year and a few examples that we just heard in the coaching community rumbled around this year, that kids, like, get X amount of dollars because they thought they were the high-impact transfer, and then they don't have as good of a season. And it's just like playing in overseas or Europe. Sometimes that check doesn't show up, or it doesn't hit the count. Right, and then they're like, well, look, like, we never set a contract. Like, again, so it's protecting both sides in your solution, which makes it even that much better of a solution, I guess, because that happens. And don't be like, nobody should be surprised that happens.
Yeah, and look, hey, we got $100,000 for you to come down here and play old shooty hoops at Bellino State University, and you were dominating there in Conference USA, giving us a double-double. And you got down here, young fella, and you did not produce, and that check did not produce either. So you're either going to get your rear end out of the court and put up some numbers and get us some wins, or that check is going to find itself lost somewhere and voided out in the mail and end up in a shredder.
Hey, real quick, can we shout out the Chips, man? Fire up Chips. How about them? I know this. I know we got a lot of listeners, a lot of alum for.
Wow, are you allowed to say that? What, I mean, talk about fair and unbiased here. This guy is coaching against a team in his league and giving them credit. Some people just get it, folks. This guy right here, Bing bong. He gets it. You want to say fire up Chips? Go ahead. You could say it.
Yeah, man, they're sitting down, they are guarding, they're in a stance. You know, it's like what Michigan State used to be. See, I had to get a shot at it. I just can't help it. But they're sitting down, they're guarding, they're beating teams. They beat Toledo at their place. They've beaten Bowling Green twice now, who was within in their standings. You know, they did lose to Ohio. You know, I just had to throw that in there. But
that's what Ryan just said. Ryan just typed that in on the sheet just now. He gets it because he's responsible for one of their few losses in conference play.
We got to keep it fair. Like, we got to call a spade, don't we? But man, no, I'm being dead serious. Some really good basketball being played up there. A lot of reason for excitement. I know Ryan and all the Central Michigan alums and fans out there were thrilled with that 20-point victory against Western Michigan and throwing toilet paper all over the floor. I don't even know what that is, but they did it, and it was crazy.
He's the coach, Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter, Kyle Barlow 4. Donate to Concordia and Ohio University. We're back with more after this. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7.